It's that time, y'all. Time for big boys boxing.
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
What is up, team? Hope everybody is doing well, staying safe, staying away from the Rona. So, today, I'm going to have a bit of a yarn about this heavyweight situation. The situation we're in now is probably the situation, well, it is the situation we were in prior to talks of Fury v Joshua for Undisputed, and what is gonna happen next is what should have happened in the first place. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury has now been confirmed for July 24th in Las Vegas. It'll probably be at T-Mobile Arena, says Tyson Fury, during the broadcast from ESPN featuring Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor for Undisputed at 140 pounds or super lightweight. Tyson Fury signed the contract to fight Wilder on camera. Wilder's signature was already on the contract. It's go. And also, the WBO, now that the undisputed fight between Fury and Joshua is off, the WBO has ordered Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk to have a deal made within 10 days of this order for them to fight. So, Eddie Hearn apparently did try and get another extension with the WBO, but computer says no. Computer says no extensions, no nothing. You fight Usyk or you get stripped of that belt. So obligations are going to be out of the way. There are no more mandatories lined up for Anthony Joshua at present. There's no WBA mandatory, and with the WBA and their super title, they decide when they want to do a mandatory. There's no set time frame as far as I know. They make it so confusing between the super title and the regular title. It seems the mandatories go to the regular title, but every now and then they decide, okay, we'll give the super a title, because Alexander Povetkin was a WBA mandatory, and that got done. But there's no IBF mandatory at the moment. There was talk of Michael Hunter and Filip Hrgovic having a final eliminator, but Michael Hunter bailed out of that fight for some dumb reason to go and fight a couple of fights on Triller against nobodies, when you could have had a shot at a real title, or at least a mandatory shot. And what do we got left? WBO, WBA, IBF. Those are all the belts Joshua has. There is a mandatory for the WBC, but it hasn't been ordered. Dillian White is the interim WBC champion at present, which is also the mandatory. So we'll see what the WBC do down the line, but he's only just reobtained that title, so there's no pressing from the WBC at present to announce or to order that fight. So as it stands, if these boys get their mandatories, well, their obligations, I'm not going to say mandatories, because Tyson Fury is just obligated to give Deontay Wilder a third match. He did try to get out of it. Bob Arum spun us some crap, said there was an expiry on the contract, which I do believe there was an expiry on when Deontay Wilder could activate his rematch clause, but he did it a week after taking the loss. So Bob Arum was trying to spin us some crap to, and I'll tell you why actually right now. I think it's because he knows very well Tyson Fury has 2 fights left on his top ranked contract. And he wanted to get both of those fights to be Anthony Joshua fights because they're going to make Bob Arum the most money, aren't they? But he's only got 2 fights left on the contract. He's going to have to use one of them up against Wilder. And by Christ, if it's not undisputed for the next fight, if he gets past Wilder, then yeah, scream duck, scream turkey, scream poultry, scream quail. You know, it'll be a hell of a duck. But anyways, I am about to drop a link in the chat for anybody who may like to join. Give me a sec here, get this done. And we'll pin this to the top, so it's there for everybody and anybody. And I shall get over into Discord myself. I'm not in the channel. Now I am. So, yeah, this is where we stand, and this is how I think it should have started in the first place. All the way through this, Eddie Hearn saying it's done, and just waiting on this, we're just waiting on that. We all knew this arbitration case was going on behind closed doors, and I think Bob Arum knew what was going to happen. He's used this arbitrator before. He'd been in his house having a cup of tea with him. We've seen pictures of it. And yeah, it is what it is. Bob Arum and Tyson Fury tried to worm their way out of that deal for the 3rd match. Couldn't do it. Now it's come back to bite them in the ass, and they're gonna have to fight it. So it also leaves another situation with the WBO. We knew Joe Joyce was wanting to fight Alexander Usyk for the WBO interim title, and it was likely if Joshua and Fury fought, they would have a rematch, so the WBO would have been vacated or stripped, and whoever won between Usyk and Joyce was going to be the full WBO champion. However, Alexander Usyk, being smart, I've got a phone call, I'll just turn that off, give me a sec. Apologies, team. People try to ring at the most inconvenient of times. But anyways, yeah, Alexander Usyk and his management weren't going to sign that contract to fight Joyce until this Fury Joshua contract was signed. Smart. And I'd also said that when they were talking about making that Joyce Usyk fight, I said he's not going to sign that until that Fury Joshua fight's signed. It's just stupid to wait and see. So it leaves us with Joe Joyce at number 2 in the WBO, and next in line is Joseph Parker, and this could be a final eliminator if the fight is made. However, I'm not so sure Joseph Parker wants that shot just yet. He said so himself, that he wants to have a bit more time with his new coach Andy Lee, work on a few things, and get on top of what they want to learn and do in training. Joe Joyce is a tough fight for Joseph Parker, no doubt about it, but he also has other options. So it's possible Filip Hrgovic versus Joseph Parker could be ordered for the IBF final eliminator as well. So there are a couple of options there If I was Joseph Parker, I would probably lean towards the Hrgovic fight. I think it's maybe a little easier. Don't get me wrong, Filip Hrgovic is a hell of a fighter, up and coming. I think he's just a slight bit more greener than Joe Joyce. So that's an option for Parker as well. But with the WBO, if Parker doesn't want that fight, we've got Deontay Wilder at number 3. He's busy. And then there's Andy Ruiz at number 5. So if Parker didn't want that fight, Joe Joyce versus Andy Ruiz is also a great fight for a final eliminator for the WBO. So it's a little bit of a sit and wait game. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely interested to see what happens in the near future with the IBF and the WBO. But for me, the path to Undisputed is set, and like the description says, I don't care who wins. I mean, it is possible that Usyk could beat Joshua and Wilder could beat Fury, but either way, whoever wins from those fights simply has to fight to combine all the belts. It has to be done, and I think it should be done in December. Get it done, and it's defendable. Whatever happens, it's defendable, unless there's some kind of rematch clauses in there. But like I say, with not having any current mandatories even in place, it's not likely anything's going to get ordered. So to me, it happening this way is going to work out better in the long run. There's going to be no roadblocks, and I am down with it. It looks like nobody's jumping in for a yarn today. Quickly jump over to Discord and make sure no one's in there. No one's in there, it's all good. So, over the weekend we had a few good fights. We saw, I guess you could say, ex-heavyweight now, in Yevgeny Romanov. Yes, the man who stopped Deontay Wilder in the amateurs, knocked him down twice, plus a standing 8 count. That happens 3 times in the amateurs, it's all over. He fought ex-cruiserweight in Dmitry Kudryashov, who is a beast of a fighter as well. He has taken a couple of losses. I think he's got 3-4 losses now. But some of y'all might remember back in the WBSS was the first time I got a decent look at Dmitry Kudryashov. He's a very heavy hitter usually, but Yonir Dorticus knocked him out in 2 rounds in the WBSS. That was highly unexpected from most people. I think picking that fight, I actually did pick Dorticus, but I had no idea he was going to take him out in 2 rounds. The first round in that fight was pretty tight, a lot more volume from Dorticus, but the second round, just the straight 1-2, he did like 8 of them in a row, and most of them landed on Kudryashov, and the last one put him down. He didn't get up from it. I thought maybe Yevgeny Romanov may have poured it on and tried to do the same sort of thing, and I should have mentioned why I said both of these fighters were ex in their last weights, as this fight was a bridgerweight fight. Yes, that's from 201 pounds to 224 pounds. Kudryashov looked quite a bit bigger than Romanov in there. I expected Romanov to be able to stop Kudryashov within 4 rounds. In fact, I had a bet on it. I had two bets on it. One of them was inside 3, one of them was inside 4 in a multi-bet. But Romanov didn't seem to pour it on as thick as I thought he might. That's the way to get Kudryashov, is pour it on early, heavy shots, and he's gone. But to Kudryashov's credit, I think he was a lot more cautious in this fight. You could see he wasn't winging a lot of big shots as he usually does. So he wanted to try and possibly get Romanov to wear himself down a bit, but it's never going to work like that against Romanov. He doesn't gas, he's very economical, he doesn't waste punches, and he's very accurate. So he doesn't wear out, he doesn't move a lot, so he doesn't miss. He throws a lot of straight punches, so he's generally going to beat somebody that throws big wide hooks, heavy hooks. He's going to beat them to the punch. And he outboxed Kudryashov over the distance, got the win. But a lot of the talk from some hardcore Romanov fans saying he's the biggest puncher in the division. Look what he did to Wilder. He's a beast. He can do this. He can do that. He's 35 years old. He had a very illustrious amateur career. I believe he was a Olympic bronze medalist at one point. And I think he just stayed in the amateurs too long. He's come up to the pros. He was 15-0 with 15 KOs prior to this fight. And he couldn't stop a career cruiserweight. He'd been knocked out cold twice. I think it was twice. He's been stopped 3 times, but I'm sure he got KO'd 2 of those times. So questions loom over Yevgeny Romanov's punching power. He's only 6 foot tall, so he's a very small heavyweight. How far can he go in the heavyweight division? I don't know. Maybe he could make it to a gatekeeper status, but I think he's too small. And by the time he gets to within reach of a title shot, he's going to be damn near 40 years old at the very earliest. If we're facing facts here, he hasn't faced anybody in the heavyweight division worthy of getting him close to a title shot as yet. And also, don't get me wrong, he did beat Kudryashov quite easily. Won every round as far as I could see. But he should have been trying to get him out of there, and he just wasn't doing it. And I don't think there was any actual heavyweight fights full stop over the weekend, but it was a pretty good weekend of boxing. And I will admit, this time it's the first time in ages I actually lost money this weekend. Usually my hedges, if my risky bets don't come through, my hedges usually bring me out evenish or not, but I lost everything this weekend, and I try to keep myself to a $30 limit for a weekend of boxing. A couple of upsets in there that wrecked me. The first one was Kenneth Sims Jr. beating Elvis Rodriguez. I just picked Rodriguez for the win in that one, but credit to Kenneth Sims Jr. He gave the young lad a boxing lesson and beat him on a majority decision. Kenneth Sims Jr. very sharp, at times showing his age. He's getting up there in age, but he showed this young kid what skills actually are. You can't just get away with having heavy hands, walking forward and blowing away opposition that don't deserve to be in there, and expect everybody to think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So big credit to Kenneth Sims Jr. But stuff to you, man. You wrecked my multi-bet. And there was another fight on the weekend that was upset. Who was it? Starting with S. Might have to bring up my TAB to have a look at that actually. There was another one that messed me up. Give me a sec here, team. Find it. I think Jose Cepeda wrecked one of my multis as well. I expected Cepeda to be able to get rid of Hank Lundy. And watching the fight, I would have thought he should have been able to get him out of there as well, but he just did not step on the gas at all. think Zepeda has got some kind of mental block after being down 4 times against Ivan Baranchyk. He's always had some confidence problems, but coming through that fight after being down 4 times and knocking down Baranchyk, I think it was 5 times to finish him off, should have given him confidence, but he just doesn't seem to be able to step on the gas and get guys out of there, especially guys like Lundy, whose legs are pretty much gone. He's old as shit, and Zepeda should have been able to get him out of there, but he just boxed his way. He was quite happy to potter along, do what he needed to do, take the win on points. So I was quite disappointed in Jose Zepeda's performance at the co-main event of that fight. Gambling site. Now we got it. Just going to my old bets. Transaction history. Here we go. All bets. 7 days. And apply filters. So the 110 league multi I had on. That was supposed to be my big winner. Put a tenner on it. So there was one fight cancelled because the guy didn't make weight. Pavel how do you say that? That one. Pavel Sliver, someone. That fight was cancelled, but that wouldn't have messed up my multi. What do we got here? Got a red cross here. Oh, that was the Elvis Rodriguez one. Yep, that messed me up big time. And I had Zepeda by KO, so those were the 2 that missed out on that multi. And here, this last one that missed out. Oh, that's the one. Alfredo Santiago lost. He was the one that first messed up my bet. So that was a bit of an upset as well. He was paying $1.44 as the favourite. I think his opponent was paying like $3.40 or something. So that was a bit of an upset. Elvis Rodriguez, a bit of an upset. And my hedge was Josh Taylor by stoppage from 9 to 12. And after those 2 knockdowns, actually, I better get into talking about that undisputed fight in a minute. But I had Josh Taylor winning by KO 9 to 12, and I thought it was going to come off as long as Ramirez lasted 2 rounds after those knockdowns. We got James Jameson in the house. What's up? Nanu, brother. From Mindy. And that'd be showing our age there, brother. That'd be showing our age. So, the undisputed fight between Josh Taylor and Jose Carlos Ramirez was a great fight to watch. These 2 guys have basically cleaned out the super lightweight division. They haven't all fought the top guys, but one guy's fought half of the top guys and the other guy's fought the other half of the top guys, and then they bring the 4 bouts together at the end. Josh Taylor was the favorite going into the fight according to the bookies, but a lot of money came in on Jose Ramirez late, and I'm not sure what the final odds were, but Josh Taylor just for the win was paying about $1.20 here, and Jose Ramirez was paying about $3.50 or something when I last looked, but I suspect it went down to about $2.50. So it was a great fight. Now, shame on you, Top Rank. Shame on you, Kenny Bayless, and shame on you, 3 judges. This fight had some of the shine taken off it by the scorecards. Thank Christ Josh Taylor got the nod unanimously at the end, but the scorecards were disgusting. Now, I gave Jose Ramirez round 3, round 9, and round 11. Those were the clear rounds that I gave Jose Ramirez. Now, I'll say round 4 was pretty close. And round 12 was fairly close as well. So at best, I think you could call it 5-3. 7-5 in favor of Taylor, plus 2 knockdowns, one in round 6 and one in round 7. So that would make it 115-111. And that's the widest you could possibly give it to me. All of these judges gave it 114-112. Every one of them. So they think Jose Ramirez won 6 rounds of this fight. They were doing their best to rob him. It's disgusting. Now, like I said, I gave Ramirez 3 rounds. And I think it's possible you could take away the 9th round as well. It's possible it could have been 118-108. But I had it 117-109. I'm not too unhappy with anybody that says 116-110. And like I said, I'm not even that surprised if some people have it 115-113, but 114-112? You pricks are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And such a great event, such a big fight, undisputed, super lightweight. You try and rob somebody because he's the home fighter, because he's your promoter's man, because your promoter put extra money in your pocket. You pieces of shit. It's disgusting. And I'm glad so many people are speaking about it, saying how it is. If it wasn't for this kind of bullshit, I would say I wouldn't mind seeing that undisputed fight again. Because it was a great fight. And there's nothing else these guys can do at 140. But I'm just glad that the right man got the nod. And what's he going to do from here? There's a couple of questions. A lot of people were mentioning because he's undisputed, just like Terence Crawford was, he can move up to 147 and he's automatically mandatory for, well, actually not automatically, on request. If he moves up to 147 and requests to be installed as the WBO mandatory, he's got it. That's what the WBO Super Champion gets. And that's what Josh Taylor currently is. Now, I think that's a great fight. I do think Josh Taylor is a great fighter. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. It's a fight I want to see, but I'm not quite sure if I want to see it just yet. I think there's still a little bit of room for improvement with Josh Taylor. And I think he's doing some great work with Ben Davison. We've seen some leaps and bounds of progress from Josh Taylor with his jab, moving around to his left, his right, and jabbing. I don't think Jose Ramirez was expecting that. He wasn't prepared for it. That's not what Josh Taylor usually does, but he did it well through this fight. He did get a little bit lazy with his jab after the couple of knockdowns, but you could see in round 8 in particular, he was trying to pour it on, see if he could get Ramirez out of there. but couldn't do so. I think he took round 9 off, and that's why I gave that one to Ramirez. But I think Taylor definitely won round 10. Now the other option I see for Josh Taylor is potentially having another fight at 140 and waiting for someone else in the form of Teofimo Lopez. Once he finishes with Kambosos, it could be an attractive fight for him to move up. But in saying that, it may be a step too far for Teo. Josh is pretty big for a super lightweight. So Teo could get a little bit bullied. I'm not sure. I'm not going to call on it, but if it happens, then I'll have a hell of a lot more of an opinion on it. But currently, I can't see anything else left for Josh Taylor at 140. So I'd like to hear where you guys think he should go next. But all in all, a great weekend of boxing. Sam Eggington came away with a win over, was it Carlos Molina Jr.? Boxed his way to a decision. Did enough to win. Wasn't extremely convincing, but that's what you have when it's competitive. Carlos Molina came towards the end of his career, but kudos to him. He was in there doing his best. He came to try and win. He did try, but it might be time to hang up the gloves. Sam Eggington is a decent fighter, but he's not a world beater. So maybe it's time for Carlos Molina to hang up those gloves. What else did we have over the weekend that was worth a mention? There was a few decent fights. But basically, besides those few upsets I mentioned, pretty much everything went to plan. Besides Romanov not knocking out a career cruiserweight. How good is he at heavyweight? Is he too big for too small for heavyweight? Man, I think he could just about make cruiserweight if he really wanted to. Working at bridgerweight, I'm not sure if that division's going to take off. So if you're going to fight at bridgerweight, you can only fight for the WBC. No one else. See what happens in the near future. Yeah, like I said at the start, it seems the proper path for Undisputed has been laid out. Joshua, get his WBO Mando out the way. I think he should be able to outpoint Usyk. I don't see him stopping Usyk unless he happens to catch him with something. But Usyk's pretty wily, pretty evasive, high volume. Apparently he's weighing around 230 odd pounds now. Alexander Usyk, so is possibly having a bit more pop. Possibly may have lost a little bit of speed. It's about 15 pounds more than he's used to. I'm not sure. We'll see when the time comes. We're gonna be getting an announcement whether this fight's gonna actually happen, or is Joshua gonna drop the WBO belt. I don't see that as likely myself. But I expect we're going to get an announcement from the WBO that the fight has been agreed to. Final details will come out soon within the 10-day period that was stipulated by the WBO with their order. We have Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fighting in Las Vegas on July 24th. And once those two fights are out the way, we're free and clear. The winners of those fights need to fight at the end of the year. Get this situation sorted. Get the first 4-belt undisputed heavyweight champion ever. And the first undisputed champion since Lennox Lewis in 1999, 22 years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing these wrinkles all ironed out. We can get moving in the direction that we're supposed to be moving, and no more hiccups, no more bullshit. Let's get this done. What's up, Hawker Mustang? Hope you're doing well, brother. Just about to close down. So, got my opinion on this Undisputed saga out there. Had a bit of a review for the weekend, and waiting for news on Joshua versus Usyk. When's it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is Joshua going to vacate? I doubt it. What's the point? Vacate so he can go and fight who? The only other two guys he should be wanting to fight are going to be fighting each other in June. So stuff the rest of it, unless he wants to fight Dillian Whyte for the WBC interim title. But we know how difficult that would be. We've seen Dillian Whyte in negotiations with Anthony Joshua previously. I know they fought early in their career, but since Joshua's had those bouts, Dillian wants everything his way. I don't see that fight happening unless it's mandated in some way or form, or if White happens to pick up a belt and wants to unify. But still, the negotiations are tough. I think the only way that happens is mandated fight, because Dillian wants all his toys lined up in his cot the way he wants it. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you have all enjoyed the little update, and we'll catch you all next time. Take it easy. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Yeah, appreciate that. Holla with the dollar.
Well, team, that brings us to the end for today. Hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you have, and subscribe to the channel not to miss future content. Now, if you'd like to get more involved with the channel, I do a lot of stuff over on Discord at the Big Boys Boxing Discord server. You can join through the invite link that's in the description of all my videos, or you can come to the main channel page and hit this Discord icon that's up here on the right hand top side of the channel. It will take you to here. This is the Big Boys Boxing Discord general boxing chat section. As you can see, we post news, talk about boxing. We also have some other avenues here. We have live fight links, where I drop links to fights within 24 hours of them screening. You have the Fight Night Gym up there as well. That's just where we talk strategies and tips and things for Fight Night Champion. And we also have fight replays. I'll drop the odd replay there if you want to come back and watch fights. But here is the live panel. This is where the panel members on YouTube on my lives come. If you want to join in a panel, you can come here, click on it, and you're in. See the green rings around my avatar? It means it's working. Down the bottom here is your mute. You want to mute at any time, no more green rings. And over here is the hang up button. This is noise suppression. But yeah, the hang up button to get out of there. Boom, and you're out. Also down here we have live fight streams. Got two channels there. We do stream live fights there. You can come and watch them there. I've also got the Fight Night Gym. The gym members on Fight Night Champion, quite often we come in here, use this as our voice. We can stream each other's displays here and watch each other as well, so it makes it more interactive. And obviously watch BB games. Sometimes I'll put my Xbox up there if I'm playing a game besides Fight Night Champion, which there isn't many of. But anyways, like I say, that is it for today. If you are thinking of signing up to DAZN, you should use my referral link, which is also in the description. If you do use it, you will get a month free. I'm impressed with DAZN. I've just signed up to it, and there's a lot of archive fights there, but the quality of their productions has gotten really good. So get into it, and I shall catch you next time. I'm Jonas from Big Boys Boxing, and I'm out. See you!
Subscribe to BBBoxing.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Good luck, brother.